I used to be obsessed with the latest anti-aging breakthroughs, constantly looking for that one magic product that would finally make me feel like myself again. I tried the multi-step routines and the high-end creams, convinced that if I just spent enough time and effort on the outside, I could stop the clock on the inside. But despite all the effort, I still felt sluggish every afternoon and noticed my skin losing its vibrance. I eventually realized I was just putting a bandage on a much deeper issue, trying to fix my biology with products that were never designed to reach my cells in the first place. The reality is that most of us are being sold a version of youth that's built on marketing rather than actual science. We're exhausted from trying to keep up with expensive trends that promise the world but rarely deliver. It's frustrating to feel like you're doing everything the experts tell you to do, only to still feel old before your time. I decided to stop chasing the hype and started looking at the core habits that actually tell our bodies to stay young and resilient. Today, I'm sharing 4 simple shifts that transformed my energy and health, and the best part is they don't require a shopping trip. Before we get into these 4 essential habits, I'd love to see who is here with us today. Go ahead and drop a comment below with where you're tuning in from. It's great to connect with others who are ready to take a more natural approach to longevity. And if you want to move away from the gimmicks and start building a lifestyle based on real evidence, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's cut through the noise together and focus on what actually works for your body. The biggest shift in my thinking happened when I realized that the number on my birth certificate wasn't actually a life sentence. We've been conditioned to believe that as we get older, a steady decline in energy, memory, and physical strength is just part of the deal. But in the world of longevity science, we distinguish between your chronological age, how many years you've been on the planet, and your biological age, which is how old your cells and internal systems actually act. I stopped obsessing over the calendar and started focusing on the data inside my body, and that's when everything changed. I started to look at my body like a high-performance vehicle. You can have 2 cars from the same year, but if one is kept in a garage and maintained with high-quality oil, it's going to run like it's brand new, while the other might be falling apart. Your biological age is a reflection of that maintenance. It's influenced by how your genes are expressing themselves based on your environment and your daily choices. When I understood that I could actually influence the rate at which I age, and in some cases even turn back the clock on certain markers, the pressure to find a miracle cure disappeared and was replaced by a sense of real control. The goal of these 4 habits isn't just to add more years to your life, but to add more life to your years. We want to close the gap between how long we live and how long we stay healthy and active. By focusing on biological age, we move away from superficial fixes and start addressing the cellular health that keeps our skin glowing, our minds sharp, and our bodies moving without pain. This isn't about fighting a losing battle against time, it's about optimizing the incredible machinery you already have. Once you make this mental shift, you stop being a victim of the aging process and start becoming the architect of your own vitality. The first habit that completely transformed my approach to aging was embracing the fasting mimicking effect. For years, I thought the only way to get healthy was to constantly fuel my body with small meals throughout the day. But the science shows that our bodies actually have a built-in repair mode that only gets triggered when we stop eating for a while. Think of it like a self-cleaning oven. If you're constantly cooking in it, you never have a chance to run the cleaning cycle. By simply extending the time between my last meal of the day and my first meal the next morning, I started giving my cells the space they needed to clear out the junk that naturally accumulates over time. This internal cleanup process is what scientists call autophagy, and it is one of the most powerful anti-aging tools we have, and it's completely free. When your body realizes it isn't getting a constant stream of new fuel, it starts looking for energy internally. It begins by identifying old, damaged, or zombie cells that are just taking up space and causing inflammation. Your body literally breaks down these worn-out parts and recycles them to create new, healthy ones. I noticed that once I made this a habit, my morning brain fog lifted, and my skin started looking more refreshed, all because my body was finally getting a chance to handle its own internal maintenance. The best part about this habit is that you don't need to do anything extreme to see the benefits. I started with a simple 16-8 window, fasting for 16 hours and eating during an 8-hour window. This usually just means skipping a late-night snack and pushing breakfast back a few hours. It's not about starving yourself, it's about timing your meals to work with your biology instead of against it. This simple shift in timing sends a powerful signal to your DNA to focus on survival and repair rather than just growth and storage. If you want to stop the aging process at the cellular level, you have to give your body the permission to clean house. The second habit I focused on was something I call charging the cellular batteries, known in the fitness world as Zone 2 training. For a long time, I believed that for a workout to be effective for aging, it had to be high intensity and leave me gasping for air. But the science of longevity tells us something different. The real magic happens at a steady, moderate pace, where you can still carry on a conversation, but your heart is working just hard enough. This specific level of effort targets your mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside your cells, and forces them to become more efficient at burning fat and producing energy. I started thinking of my mitochondria as the engine of my biological clock. As we age, these power plants often become sluggish and leaky, which leads to the fatigue and metabolic issues we associate with getting older. By committing to just 150 minutes a week of low-intensity movement, like a brisk walk or a light jog, I was essentially giving my cells a software upgrade. This doesn't just help with weight management, it creates a much cleaner burning energy system in the body. I noticed that after a few weeks of consistent Zone 2 work, my daily energy became incredibly stable, and I no longer felt that mid-afternoon crash that used to drive me towards sugar or caffeine. The best part about this habit is how accessible it is. You don't need a fancy gym or a high-priced trainer. You just need to move consistently at a pace that feels like a 6 out of 10 in terms of effort. Whether it's a fast-paced walk through your neighborhood or a light bike ride, the goal is to keep your heart rate in that sweet spot where you're building endurance without overstressing your system. This is one of the most science-backed ways to protect your metabolic health for the long term.
When you prioritize the health of your mitochondria, you aren't just getting fit, you're ensuring that your body has the energy it needs to keep repairing itself for decades to come. The third habit that changed my perspective on aging was realizing that muscle isn't just about looking good at the gym. It is actually the most important insurance policy your body has for long-term health. For a long time, the common advice for getting older was to slow down and stick to light activities, but the science of longevity now tells us the exact opposite. As we age, we naturally begin to lose muscle mass in a process called sarcopenia, which is a major driver of metabolic decline and physical frailty. By prioritizing resistance training, I wasn't just building strength, I was creating a metabolic sink that helps my body manage blood sugar and keep my hormones in balance. To support this new muscle, I had to stop fearing protein and start prioritizing it as a vital building block.
I moved away from the idea of dieting through restriction and instead focused on getting high-quality protein at every meal. Muscle tissue is metabolically expensive to maintain, and if you don't give your body enough protein, specifically the essential amino acids it needs, it will actually break down your own muscle to survive. By aiming for roughly 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, I gave my body the raw materials it needed to repair tissue and keep my metabolism running hot, even while resting. What makes this habit so powerful is that it transforms your body from a fragile state into a resilient one. When you have a solid foundation of muscle, your biological age drops because your body becomes much better at handling stress, preventing falls, and maintaining bone density. You don't need to spend hours lifting heavy weights every single day. Just 2 or 3 consistent sessions of resistance training a week can significantly alter your aging trajectory. Once I shifted my focus from losing weight to building a strong frame, I felt a level of vitality and stability that no expensive skincare routine could ever provide. The final habit that is more effective than any luxury night cream is mastering your sleep, specifically for a process I call the brainwash. For years, I treated sleep like a luxury or something I could catch up on later, but the science shows that sleep is actually an active cleaning phase. While you rest, your brain's glymphatic system, a specialized waste clearance pathway, becomes 10 times more active. It's during these deep sleep hours that your brain literally flushes out metabolic waste and toxic proteins that build up during the day. If you aren't sleeping, you aren't just tired, you are physically leaving trash in your brain that accelerates cognitive aging. I started viewing my bedroom as a recovery lab rather than just a place to crash. Research indicates that when we cut our sleep short, we skip the vital cycles where our cells repair their DNA and our hormones reset. This is why a single night of poor sleep can make you look years older in the mirror the next morning. It's because your body didn't have time to perform its essential maintenance. By prioritizing a consistent 7 to 9 hour window, I was giving my body the only opportunity it has to naturally produce growth hormones and regulate cortisol. This is the foundation of cellular longevity that no amount of caffeine or expensive skincare can replace. The shift for me happened when I stopped trying to hack my energy and started respecting my biological rhythm. I noticed that once I fixed my sleep environment, keeping it cool, dark, and quiet, my daytime focus sharpened and my skin's resilience improved without any new products. This habit is the ultimate anti-aging secret because it's the time when your body integrates all the other hard work you're doing, from your workouts to your diet. If you want to stay young, you have to stop seeing sleep as downtime and start seeing it as the most critical part of your anti-aging protocol. The concept that tied all these habits together for me is a biological phenomenon called hormesis. In our modern world, we are taught that stress is always the enemy and that comfort is the ultimate goal. However, longevity science reveals that our cells actually need a specific type of good stress to stay young. Hormesis is the process where a brief, controlled dose of stress triggers a massive survival response in your body. It's like a fire drill for your cells. It doesn't cause permanent damage, but it wakes up your internal defense systems and forces your DNA to repair itself more efficiently than it would in a state of constant ease. I stopped trying to live a perfectly comfortable life because I realized that comfort is often where aging accelerates. When you fast or push yourself during a Zone 2 walk or lift heavy weights, you are sending a signal to your body that says, the environment is tough right now. We need to get stronger to survive. In response, your body activates protective genes, like sirtuins, which go to work repairing broken DNA and stabilizing your cellular health. By strategically stepping out of my comfort zone, I was essentially training my body to become more resilient. Instead of wearing out, my system was actually polishing itself and becoming more durable. The magic of hormesis is that the benefits far outweigh the temporary discomfort. You aren't just getting better at fasting or lifting. You are fundamentally changing your biological age by making your cells harder to kill. This is why these 4 habits are so much more effective than any surface-level treatment. They tap into an ancient evolutionary mechanism that tells your body to prioritize longevity over growth. Once you understand that these small, calculated stresses are actually the secret to staying young, you stop fearing the effort and start seeing it as the most powerful tool in your anti-aging toolkit. The first concrete step I took to reclaim my health was conducting what I call a financial audit of my wellness spending. We often don't realize how much money we funnel into products that promise a quick fix for aging, things like luxury eye creams, trendy detox teas, or overpriced supplements with no clinical backing. I realized that by spending my budget on these surface-level solutions, I was essentially trying to paint a house that had a crumbling foundation. The goal of this audit is to stop the financial leak and redirect those resources toward the high-leverage habits that actually change your biology from the inside out. I want you to sit down and look at your bank statement from the last 90 days. Highlight every dollar spent on products marketed as anti-aging or youth-preserving. Most people are shocked to see how much they are investing in the illusion of health while neglecting the actual drivers of it. Once you see the total, I want you to make a conscious decision to stop paying for marketing hype. That money is much better spent on high-quality, whole-food protein, a pair of supportive walking shoes for your Zone 2 training, or even a simple gym membership. You are moving from being a consumer who is sold to a manager who invests in assets that appreciate over time. This audit isn't just about saving money, it's about a psychological shift in how you value your own efforts. When you stop looking for the answer in a bottle,
you start realizing that the most effective tools for longevity, like fasting, moving, and sleeping, are actually free.
By reallocating your budget toward things that support your physical structure and metabolic health, you are sending a clear signal to yourself that you are playing the long game. Take that anti-aging budget and put it into a high-quality mattress or a set of weights. Those are the investments that pay dividends in the form of extra decades of energy and vitality. The biggest mistake I made early on was trying to overhaul my entire life in a single weekend. I quickly learned that the all-or-nothing approach is a recipe for burnout, especially when you are trying to change deep-seated biological patterns. To make these longevity habits stick, I adopted the habit stacking method. This strategy is based on the idea that it is much easier to attach a new, healthy behavior to an existing one that is already on autopilot. Instead of trying to find extra time in my day, I looked for the gaps in my current routine where a new habit could naturally slide in without much resistance.
For example, I didn't just decide to start Zone 2 training, I stacked it onto my daily commute or my morning podcast habit. If I was already going to listen to a 30-minute show, I made it a rule that I had to do it while walking briskly. To master the sleep-glymphatic connection, I stacked a no-screen rule onto my evening toothbrushing routine. By linking these new actions to things I was already doing, I removed the mental fatigue of having to make a decision every day. These habits stopped being tasks and started becoming part of the natural flow of my life, which is the only way to ensure they actually last for the next several decades. I want you to pick just one of the 4 habits we discussed and find a trigger in your current day to stack it onto. If you want to start the fasting mimicking effect, stack your fasting window onto your sleep. Make your last meal at 7 p.m. and your first meal at 11 a.m. the next day.
The goal is to build momentum through small, consistent wins rather than overwhelming your nervous system. Once one stack feels like second nature, add the next. This is how you build a fortress of longevity, one brick at a time, stacked firmly on top of a foundation that is already there. Ultimately, the most powerful tool for longevity isn't something you can buy. It's the mindset you choose to adopt every single day. We have been conditioned to see aging as a slow, inevitable decline that we can only hope to delay with expensive products. But the science shows that your body is a dynamic system capable of incredible resilience. By shifting your focus from anti-aging to biological optimization, you are no longer just reacting to time. You are taking the lead. This is about realizing that your daily choices are the ultimate signal sent to your DNA, telling your cells whether to thrive or to fade. I want you to remember that the 4 habits we discussed today aren't just chores. They are the fundamental building blocks of a high-performance life. When you prioritize your sleep, your movement, and your cellular repair, you aren't just staying young for the sake of vanity. You are ensuring that you have the energy and vitality to be there for the people who matter most. The investment you make in these science-backed habits today will pay dividends for decades to come. You don't need a miracle pill when you have a lifestyle that supports your biology. The power to influence your biological age is already in your hands, and it starts with the very next decision you make. If you're ready to stop the guesswork and start mastering your health through real, grounded evidence, then you're in the right place. We are building a community of people who refuse to settle for the standard narrative of aging, and I'd love for you to join us on this journey. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into the protocols that actually work. Let's commit to choosing longevity together, one better decision at a time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video as we continue to unlock the secrets to your best, longest life.